All right. Those articles you sent over about algorithms, we're going to dive into those. The really interesting stuff about, what's changing online and how it affects, well, you.
Yeah.
So we're doing a deep dive into this blog post from Bichu, they're Japanese web consultants, and they flagged some really interesting articles about, well, being online.
It's amazing how fast things change, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the way we see information online, how businesses connect with people, it's all changing so fast, and it's all because of these algorithms, these things that are constantly evolving.
Okay, so Bichu's first highlight is how algorithms have shifted. They used to be all about connecting with your friends, like, hey, let's connect you with your buddies. Now it's all, hold on, what grabs your attention? Even if it's from, like, someone you've never even heard of. It's a whole different thing. Remember back when Facebook was all about, like, friends and family?
Yeah, it's a huge shift. We've gone from connection to content. It's not enough to just be online anymore.
Mhm.
You have to figure out how to grab the algorithm's attention, and that is a whole other thing.
It's like trying to be heard in a really loud room, except the room is full of, cat videos and targeted ads. So think about your own social media for a second, okay? How often are you seeing something and actually clicking on it from a brand you don't already know?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a question we should all be asking ourselves, and it actually leads perfectly into this second article that Bichu pointed out. So
Yeah.
this article argues that companies need to, kind of ditch this idea of having a single social media guru and actually build entire teams to handle all of this stuff.
So you're saying posting a picture of a puppy with your product just isn't going to cut it anymore?
No.
Yeah.
No, not even close. I mean, we're talking about needing data analysis, content creation, trend forecasting. This isn't just about, having a cute Instagram account anymore. You have to understand these platforms inside and out, how the algorithms work, who your audience is. Think about what you're doing online for a second, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have all the skills to do the data and the content and the trends all by yourself?
It's a lot.
This might be the time to start thinking about your team, even if it's just bringing in like a couple freelancers to help out with
Yeah,
something.
definitely. And that actually brings us to something that might come as a bit of a shock. I mean, have you heard about these AI-powered search engines, the ones that actually answer your questions directly?
Oh, yeah.
Bichu uses Perplexity as an example.
And this is where it gets really interesting
Yeah.
because these AI search engines, they aren't just searching anymore, right? They're giving you the answer. It's like you're like the all-knowing oracles of the internet.
Yeah.
And that sounds great and all, but
Well, there is a but, and it's a big one.
okay.
This convenience, this, getting answers immediately,
Yeah.
there might be some pretty big consequences because of it. In fact, this article predicts that by 2026, traffic to websites from search engines might completely fall off a cliff. Way fewer people will actually be clicking through to websites. Wait, hold on. So if your business relies on people actually visiting your website, are we talking about like a digital apocalypse or?
Well, apocalypse might be a tad dramatic.
Yeah.
But it does show how important it is to change with the times, right?
Mhm.
I mean, this is where generative engine optimization, or GEO, comes in.
GEO. Okay, so it's like SEO, but like way more intense. So instead of keywords, we're optimizing for dot answers. How does that even work?
It's a whole new world. I mean, it's not about just showing up high on the search results list anymore.
Yeah.
Businesses have to actually think about how to give the most direct, complete, compelling answer to whatever the user is asking. And it has to be right there in those search results.
So you have to become like the top expert, the one the AI trusts to give the best information. No more hiding behind like tricky keywords or whatever. You got to bring it every single time.
Exactly. And that brings up a really important question. If these AI search engines really do take over, should businesses even bother with traditional SEO anymore? Or should they be looking at different platforms entirely, building communities where people actually engage with them directly and that kind of thing?
Well, I'll tell you what, when I read that stat about website traffic potentially like falling off a cliff, I almost choked.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, are we going to be obsolete?
I don't know about obsolete, but it's definitely time to, adapt.
Yeah.
And one way to do that is by building a really strong, loyal community.
Yeah.
People who are going to engage with your content directly, regardless of what's happening with search engines.
Just like choosing your battle, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to fight to be seen in the AI arena, or do you want to build your own little empire somewhere else?
I like that analogy. And there's no right answer, is there? It really depends on the business, their audience, their goals. Speaking of different approaches, though, that last article Bichu talked about, the one about TikTok in Southeast Asia, That just shows how different things can be.
Oh, yeah, TikTok. It's huge here, obviously, but it sounds like in Southeast Asia, it's a whole other animal.
Yeah, it's really interesting. The article explained that over there, it's not just about entertainment or viral trends. It's like woven into everyday life, into how they do business, even social activism.
So it's less about getting, like, a million views on a dance challenge and more about, I don't know, connecting with your community in a real way.
Exactly. And I think that highlights something really important for anyone who's, trying to make it online. Diversity is key. Seeing how other cultures use these platforms can spark some really cool, innovative ideas.
It's like you can travel the world without even leaving your desk chair, you know? Just seeing how other people use these tools, it's really inspiring, even if you don't use TikTok that way yourself.
Absolutely. It reminds us that the online world is huge and it's always changing, and there's so much variety out there.
So we've gone from connection to content, from solo gurus to whole teams, from SEO to GEO. We even took a little trip to Southeast Asia. I think we covered it all, didn't we?
We covered a lot, that's for sure. But before we wrap up, I think there's one more important thing we should talk about.
Ooh, I love a good cliffhanger. What's the takeaway for our listeners today?
Well, we talked a lot about adapting to these algorithms, right?
Right.
But what if the algorithms just keep pushing the stuff that grabs our attention? And they stop caring about actual connection. What happens to online communities then? What happens to real interaction?
Yeah, it's like we're building these giant digital cities, but forgetting to put in parks, or community centers, the things that make those cities worth living in.
That's a great way to put it. It's definitely something to think about as we try to find our way in this online world that just keeps changing.
It really is. So, to sum it all up for everyone listening, the online world is changing faster than ever. These algorithms are making the rules now, and it's up to us to figure out how to keep up. Maybe that means, building a team, or maybe it means finding new ways to connect with your audience directly.
And maybe, just maybe, it means taking a step back sometimes,
Yeah.
just to make sure that we don't lose sight of those real connections. Because at the end of the day, that's what makes being online so valuable.
For all the talk about algorithms and AI, that's a very human thought to end on. And on that note, it's time for us to sign off. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.